Hello, ladies and gents, boys and girls, people of all ages, sexualities, and identities, and welcome back to another film slash. It's something different today. It's technically a film slash Doctor Who review because we're going into the Doctor Who universe with a fan film named Downtime. So, what is Downtime about? Well, Victoria Waterfield, who not everyone will know of, but anyone who's watched classic Doctor Who will know that Victoria Waterfield was essentially a second Doctor companion. Now, she goes searching for her father in this story and finds herself in a situation in which she is manipulated, along with Dr. Travis, by the Great Intelligence. Great Intelligence installs some ideas into Victoria's head about building a company and possessing a bunch of technology, and essentially trying to convince her that after all is done, she will see her father again. However, both times with her and Dr. Travis, it's an absolute lie. And it's all because the Great Intelligence is building a web in which they will have soldiers and soldiers of Yeti to take over the planet, and a giant web that will cocoon the planet entirely. However, unlucky for the Intelligence, people such as the Brigadier and Sarah Jane Smith come on the scene to shut it down. Brigadier has prior kind of knowledge of the Intelligence, and as you can see on the title, it's to find the Locust. That's very relevant to this story for one key reason. We later find out in the story that Brigadier Alistair Gordon Lethbridge Stewart has kept a kind of carven cutout of the Yeti. Now, his daughter Kate grew up with this Yeti, so he thought nothing of it. However, it turns out that that is the last piece of the puzzle that the Intelligence is looking for. Brigadier's daughter Kate lives on what is a riverboat with her son. She lives on this away from a lot of people because she doesn't want to get too involved with UNIT, and on top of it, she's been trying to bring up her son since her breakup with her boyfriend. Her and Sarah Jane Smith get along really well. And Sarah goes to investigate Waterfield's company, but seems to turn up dry. However, the Brigadier spends the majority of this story being haunted by visions of Waterfield. He begins to put together the fact that Waterfield was most probably one of the Doctor's companions. However, for some mysterious reason, she can't seem to remember the Brigadier, either due to a faulty memory or something to do with the fact that the Intelligence has messed with her mind so much. The Intelligence almost wins in this story as it begins to take over the planet and manipulate and turn more people into Yetis. However, luckily for the Brigadier and Sarah and the rest of them, it turns out that there has been a ghost in the system. A ghost of one of the students who tried to call out the Intelligence's plan from the very beginning. After dying and dive bombing off of the university/college, he has been trying to coerce the Brigadier and the rest of the group towards his main goal, which is to destroy the Intelligent entirely. After destroying the system and the server at the end of the story, the Intelligence's connection to the planet is destroyed completely, and Dr. Travis finds himself going along with the Intelligence. This is partly due to the fact that the Intelligence decided to use Dr. Travis's body as a host, and also the fact that he was shot. The Brigadier spends the end of this story reuniting with his daughter and Sarah and begins to reminisce about old times with the Doctor. After this, of course, the Brigadier gets to finally meet his grandson that he finds out halfway towards the end of this story. And as a whole, that is pretty much the end of this. So, Downtime. What did I think of it as a whole? I like the culmination and the ambition of the writers. I love the use of previous companions and classic Who companions in this story. It's really nice that there's no Doctor in this story, because I feel like the Doctor would kind of be running around trying to explain a lot of things away. So to have the context being slowly fed to the audience, I feel like what makes this story strong, in my opinion. I also like the idea of having a Yeti that isn't necessarily a villain. When the intelligence was first brought into Showcase, it feels like they were using the Yeti a lot. And that worked because it was set in Tibet. However, I feel like the intelligence having the power over the Yeti in this story, I'm glad that it was restrained to the university, because I feel like it would really become questionable if the Yetis were anywhere else. Especially because everyone would start to think, where are all these Yeti coming from? I also like the idea that they've kept the classic Who example of the Great Intelligence having this kind of web that begins to infect the place. It's something that I really hope that in the future Doctor Who brings back at some point. So, what would I give Downtime out of 10? It's an interesting story with a very strong plot, and I love the use of the round discs slash balls. Yes, I said it. They're balls. So what? But overall, I do really love the characterization, and I feel like this story is very strong. And for that reason, I'm going to give it a solid 8 out of 10. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next Doctor Who review slash film review slash reviews in general, you beautiful people. Have an incredible night.